As you most likely already know, some of our favourite games have had many ports over the years, but not all ports are made equal, as you can see with games like Outer Worlds on the Switch when compared to the PS4 and Xbox One ports. But was this always the case? Today we will take a look at ports of the same game for 16-bit consoles. And because it's Halloween, what better game to cover than one of my favourite horror-themed games from the 90s, Zombies. Or Zombies Ate My Neighbours depending on your region, for the Snes and Mega Drive/Genesis. The question is though, were these ports created equal? Let's find out. Developed by LucasArts and published by Konami, this was a recipe for success. The SNES version released first in 1993, and the Mega Drive port followed just 2 months later. Comparing them here, it's glaringly obvious some of the changes that were made for the Mega Drive port. But it turns out a lot of these changes were actually made for the SNES version in mind. See this bloody game over screen that you get in the Mega Drive version? Well, Nintendo of America thought it was too gory and had them change the blood from red to purple. Yep, that's good old censorship from Nintendo, but something tells me this wouldn't be as big an issue with Nintendo of today. But this wasn't the only form of censorship that the game faced. It turns out it's also part of the reason why PAL regions just had zombies as the title. And the chainsaws those lumberjacks terrorized you with? Yeah, they were changed to axes. Not a huge change to be fair, and I'd honestly be scared of either. Some games from the same era had a way for you to save your progress as you played. And Zombies was no exception, but it did have its own unique way of doing things. When you beat certain levels in the game, you'll be given a password, which you can use when starting a playthrough to start on that stage. But be warned, none of your progress will be saved. You'll start on the level, you'll only have your water pistol, which makes it impossible to finish some of the stages. LucasArts actually wanted to use a battery save, but it proved too costly at the time, and this was a good compromise in theory, but in a game where specific weapons are needed for certain enemies, it failed in execution. To me, this game on either platform is an absolute classic, but earlier in the year I found out about a project from Dude27 from Twitter, who is working on a Zombies Ate My Neighbours mod using the Doom engine, meaning you can play this game now in first person view in a 3D world. Insane, right? The current build is only playable up to 7 levels, so it still has a long way to go, but it is well worth checking it out as it is. As a huge fan of Doom and first-person shooters in general, this is a project I'm very excited to be following. The attention to detail is perfect, and the only thing that I think could improve the game is to be able to play it in VR. I actually had the pleasure of interviewing the modder of the game. If you'd like to hear their story, be sure to check out the link in the description below. You'll find plenty of references to movies in the game like Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, Mars Attacks, Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Wait, due to censorship we should probably say Texas Axe Massacre? That doesn't quite have the same ring to it. But it's not only movies that get a shout out, because you'll also find a nod to another LucasArts game, Day of the Tentacle, here as well. If you're a fan of retro games and nods to classic horrors, then this is a game I urge you to check out for yourself, both in retro form and with the mod. I'd like to thank you for watching, and if you liked what you've seen, make sure you hit that subscribe button with notifications on. Let me know some of your favourite horror games in the description below, and keep an eye out on your neighbours, because you never know when the zombies will attack. And as always, happy gaming.